Welcome to Curiosity Unleashed with David Brown. I'm always excited and a little bit extra curious as to where our conversations lead, David, because they could go anywhere really.
They could.
They could.
That's really, really true. Yeah.
Yeah,
And you bring such a variety of like topics, and of course a bit like the mycelium, like
yeah,
when you go under the ground, like it's all interconnected anyway. So
that's
we
it.
could we could pop up anywhere, right?
Exactly.
Yeah.
It connect to any kind of story, a myth. I've really been enjoying these. Different kind of myths. I'm trying to bring a little bit of a wider perspective to my own view of not just myths, but the world. I think this is my mission on Earth is to kind of view broaden my own perspective on how things seem for other people as well. I think because we are so connected, this mycelium kind of concept is very true to me, in that we are parts of each other and our stories also are parts of each other's stories. Yeah, especially in this mythical landscape, which I think is such a cool space to connect to our psyche. I think,
Mm,
yeah. I know you also love myths and archetypes and those kind of things.
I really do. I'm
Yeah.
reading a really amazing book at the moment. This book,
Mm.
Liturgies of the Wild, by the phenomenal storyteller Martin Shaw.
Yeah.
Not the actor, but that's what he looks like.
Ooh, interesting
Yeah,
dude. Yeah. Yeah.
movie storyteller photo. Um, yeah, and just like what he keeps talking about around this topic of myth is that the stories speak to basically they speak to the messy human experience
Yeah.
and what you need to lean into in yourself and what you need to lean into in others
Mm.
to be able to live this full and messy life experience.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
yeah, I'm really, really enjoying the book, and
Yeah.
if you feel that it aligns, then yeah,
No,
I
definitely. I'm
recommend it to the
going and
community.
diving into that a bit more. Yeah. Yeah.
Mm, yeah.
Yeah. Interesting title. I'm not sure what liturgies mean. I'll have to go and look at that.
So it's interesting because liturgy, I think, has a sort of a religious connotation,
Ah,
particularly in Christianity.
okay.
And I mean, and it's part of his story, but he has become a Christian
Mm.
in recent years, but led to Christianity through his myth learning and storytelling journey.
Okay.
So he's kind
Yeah.
of rejected Christianity and gone on this
Yeah.
massive long journey and then kind of reconnected with Christianity. But he
Yeah.
talks about Christianity in a way that like I never hear people or rarely hear people talk about Christianity in that
Yeah.
way because he's coming at it from a place of myth.
That's it. Yeah, which is great. Yeah, I'm fascinated already.
Yeah.
It definitely
Like,
sounds like a bit of a hero's journey.
yes.
Yeah, very much.
Yeah.
Yeah.
All of that. All of that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. And so what's been happening in your world? Tell me a little bit. I know you're more busy or creating more things within Sovereign Dialogue.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. So what's new? Yeah, so we've been running these sovereign dialogue sessions for the last well, we've done 5 3-month
Yeah.
blocks of them
Yeah. Yeah.
over the last sort of 18 months or so, with some breaks in between. And for this last series, so every series up until recently, we've always kind of had questions to
Mm.
help guide people into a particular way of thinking. And although we don't want to let go of that completely for this particular series, we didn't pose a question and allowed people to really connect deeply with their sovereign within
Mm.
and have that guide them in whatever it was that whatever wisdom and guidance and insight they needed for whatever part of their life that they really that they wanted to work with. And what I've been noticing is the more aware, the more self-aware I become, not just intellectually, but also in an embodied, sensing, emotional way,
Yeah.
the dialoguing becomes much richer. The
Yeah.
dialoguing becomes much deeper and much fuller.
Mm.
And and it just never ceases to amaze me, like the insight that people get around things like grief and about how to deal with relationships, how to bring their business forward. Like there's no area of your life that is off limits when it comes to this kind of work.
Mm.
And I've earlier this year I completed my 4-year training in the Feldenkrais method. And one of the teaching modalities of that is a group class is called Awareness Through Movement. So
Okay.
there's a teacher at the front of the class that's speaking instructions for people to follow in light, non-athletic movement. But the
Yeah.
emphasis is all about awareness.
Yeah.
Um, and so the insight that I've had a few months ago was actually I can use that as a way of deepening people's sovereign dialogue.
Mm.
And so tomorrow is the taster session for
Okay.
a group, a set of 5 sessions
Yeah.
where I'm going to be doing that with people. So it's going to be an opportunity to really sink deeply into that, and I'm really excited to see how
Yeah.
all of that
Yeah.
um, how that works for other people because it's really
Yeah.
worked for me. So you do it on yourself first, you get
Yeah.
all
Yeah.
excited, and then it's like, okay, right, so we'll try it out and see what happens. And people might hate it, but
Yeah.
I'm getting the sense that they're going to love it. So
Probably, yes.
yeah,
I really like that because there's as you know, we're in kind of in this alchemy of trust
yeah,
season within the wisdom seekers. And I feel that there's in that which you just posed, there's so much trust, even just taking that question away, to be able to lean in and go, how do I, what happens if I cut out the the computer part, the
yeah.
yeah, intellectual part as such, and to then use that movement because I think movement connects us more to our inner world, takes us out of our head, doesn't it?
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah, we can do.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, we've all seen the people in the gym who are doing the cycle ride or the run or the cross trainer or the weights or the whatever it is, but they're not in their bodies.
Mm.
They're off, and you can see it, in
Yeah.
the way that they're
Yeah.
doing it. But I think some of the really great athletes, like people like Muhammad Ali or Bruce Lee, or
Mm.
who have become teachers of something more than just what they teach in the
Yeah.
physical realm. There's this kind of spiritual, psychological, emotional aspect to it.
With them.
There's a depth. Yeah, yeah. There's a
Yeah.
depth to it that means that it's not an intellectual thing for them. Yeah, it's a spiritual, embodied
Mm.
practice that takes them much deeper.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Definitely. And I think that is what you mentioned this a little bit earlier as well around different aspects of your life comes forward, or you can connect to different aspects of your life within that space, whether it's bringing your business forward or relationship or grief or, dealing with those things.
Yeah.
Um, and it's an interesting concept for me in our society, the normal world out
Mhm.
there, where these things are separate, where we have spaces where we can show certain angles of ourselves. And I think it's separated and segregated us from ourselves or created this illusion of separation
Yeah.
within our psyche. Because the main mission of our subconscious or our psyche is to create balance, is to come back into balance. And often I think, and I'm kind of playing with this idea with you, so nothing is set in stone. But I think, when we segregate these aspects of ourselves, um, then we lose touch with the wholeness, with the balanced part.
Well, okay. My mind's just gone. So, so I think we can be balanced in a small part of ourselves,
Mm,
and then we can also be balanced in the bigger part of ourselves.
mm,
And the more we incorporate the wholeness of who we are,
mm.
the more each part of ourselves helps to balance the other parts.
Yeah.
So the whole notion of so your recent blog about the lightning bird.
Yes.
So part of what creates lightning is that electrical imbalance
Hmm.
that causes the electricity to travel from, I guess, from positive to negative. I don't know,
Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
but you
Yeah.
get right.
Yeah.
Wind is from a high pressure to a low pressure.
Hmm.
Um, Currents and things like that, through to different salinities and temperatures and all this kind of stuff, right? So there's this thing where nature creates imbalance for there to be movement,
Hmm.
and then balance is kind of restored temporarily, and then it swings off in another direction, and so it
Yeah.
goes, right? And then at the same time, lightning affects the wind, and the wind affects the currents, and the currents affect the rain, and the
Mm.
so when you start looking at it in a bigger and bigger and bigger context, the scales just get bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger and bigger,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
think it's the same within ourselves. So, yeah, you can just look at your physical health and that's fine. But if you go broader than that and you start to see that your physical health impacts your emotional well-being, and your emotional well-being affects your physical health, but it also affects your mental
Yeah.
well-being and all, and so the whole thing just becomes this much, much bigger thing. So you have to be able to, you can
Mm.
get that. And I think that zeroed in focus thing is really, really helpful.
Yeah.
But if you're not looking at it in that bigger context as well, then you're more likely to go out of balance in the bigger context,
That's
you know.
it.
And then
Yeah.
also, if you only look at the bigger context, maybe it's
Yeah.
harder to see where little things in yourself or in your life are out of balance as well.
That's it. And that's a balance in itself to be able to zoom out and zoom in, as a whole, as the
Yes.
whole of the process.
Yes.
That the process, and this kind of brings me back to where we started, kind of experience. We're here to experience the messiness of humanness or human. Um, and we can't experience it in its fullest if we're constantly thinking that we need to fix it. We need there's something wrong, or, there's all of those things. I need to have been there already. I should, all those things. Yeah, creating
Yeah.
the boxes that we do for ourselves, or that has been created for us and that we somehow think we can or should fit into.
Yeah, totally, totally. And then those boxes, they undermine our trust in ourselves, right?
Exactly, exactly.
So, so one of the reasons why, back to our sovereign dialogue thing, one of the reasons why we've paused the questions
Mm,
is because it felt like it was a really good opportunity to have people trust in themselves more.
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Work on the area that's really important for you.
Mm,
Don't rely on us. And
mm.
that was a kind of a clear message that came through for me. And when we first did it, people were like, "Oh, I don't know what,
How to
I don't
do
know what to
this.
do." Yeah, like, and there was a part of me that was like, "Oh my, what have I done?" But then I,
Create
but then
chaos.
I sort of calm myself down, and it's like, okay, I got that clear, I got that clear insight to do it that way. What am I not trusting?
Exactly.
And so I'm not
Exactly.
trusting them, and I'm not trusting myself, and so I think it's really important to have these points of trust. And
Mm,
that doesn't mean that it's going to be perfect, and it certainly doesn't mean it's going to be perfect, and it doesn't mean that you're going to get it right. But I think that there is something about being willing to trust yourself enough that you're willing to leap. or step off the edge. And then
If
you'll
perfect or right existed, of course.
exactly, yeah,
Yeah,
yeah, absolutely. But we think it does, right? So the perfectionist will do everything that they possibly can to make it perfect, or whatever the opposite of perfectionist is. But the person who believes, well, I'm never going to get it right anyway, so why would I bother?
yeah,
Those two extremes. I
yeah,
sit more in the why would I bother
yeah,
version rather than the perfectionist version. But
mm,
either way, if you come more towards the center, it's there is no perfection and
mm,
there isn't really even getting it wrong,
yeah,
but there is something about being able to trust yourself to go, okay, I'm going to go for this. And I also trust myself that I'll course correct as I go.
yeah.
Um,
In a fuller experience of that, because that's the right part. That's the perfection part, is to fully experience it, isn't it? Instead of instead of blocking yourself and thinking about how am I going to do this right, or how do I do this
mhm.
in this question situation that you've built some form of trust with the room as such, or
Oh, I see.
with the the collective that you work with, or um, and within that building process, I think it's about also trusting the process and knowing where we come from, what we've done. Okay, we've had, for example, questions in this space. How
Hmm.
do we build on that? It's not necessarily starting from scratch.
No.
It's moving forward and growth as such. Because in that growth element, there is chaos, there is uncertainty, there is, oh hell, there's no question, what do I do now? Because
Mm.
now it evolves. Now it becomes bigger. Yeah,
Yeah, yeah, perfect.
yeah, yeah.
Yeah.
And this is something that we struggle with, isn't it? This is where we find as humans, as I don't know, you know, whatever we want to call ourselves, um, we we don't trust it. We become scared of the storm, instead of seeing what the storm lights up. What does the lightning bring? What does it expose? What does it show us? Because it is uncertainty. We don't know where it's going to hit or what's going to happen. And this is the beautiful part of this lightning bird myth, which I didn't know much about until I started researching in the last month or so. And it is actually a South African myth from the Nguni tribe. Um, and it's this bird lives in that space of I don't know, maybe uncertain, impact of there's something that needs to be shown. And usually before these storms, there's drought, or there's a almost like a yearning for release or relief, in that there's water or rain needed, which then brings this kind of drama, really, in
Mm.
the sky or in the on the earth, or and it's interesting that they then bring this, and the 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 myth is quite a interesting bird, like a mysterious, there's an aspect of hiddenness, of uncertainty, of is it a good thing or is it a scary thing, and it's only within the zooming out, I suppose, that you can see where the lesson lies within that, I think.
As you were talking, I was thinking of grapevines
Oh yeah.
and how grape grapevines are not watered
Mm,
so that they drive roots deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper and deeper into the earth.
mm,
So there's this sense of stress
mm,
causes the plant to want to search deeper and wider for water.
Mm.
so that it develops resilience,
Yeah.
it develops strength. And I think that there is something like what you're saying about, this before the storm, there's drought, and that there's this like things are ready to grow,
Mm.
but we need this thing, whatever it's going to be, but we need this something that's going to allow that growth to happen. It's ready to go,
Mm. But
right?
it's missing that one, that thing. Yeah.
Exactly. And it's missing that thing. So the
Yeah.
storm brings the thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And of course, a storm is many things. It isn't just one thing, right? So it could be rain and it could be wind and it could be the lightning itself.
Yeah.
Yeah. That creates fire. And, there are
Yeah.
lots of different ways that that can happen. And that's what I love about it, right? Yeah, I really like that idea that the storm is not one thing.
Yeah.
Yeah. And a life event is not ever just one thing.
No.
It's what we It's what we're ready for that we take from it.
Mm.
That's the thing that helps us transform.
Yeah. And yet there is that chaos, that uncertainty, that level of trust. I have to trust this process because what is it bringing? Yeah.
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Trust in, well, it's a trust in life, isn't it?
Mm.
And this human, this human propensity to think that if something looks a certain way, then it's good.
Hmm.
And if something looks a different way, then it's bad.
Yeah.
And actually being able to trust that whatever comes, I can find my way. Like I can learn from it, I can grow from it, I can take from it, I can give back to it. But I
Mhm.
have to be in the right mindset to be able to do all of those things. So back
Yeah.
to what you were saying in your blog about, we are not separate from nature. We are a part of nature, and part of
Yeah.
our role in nature, like everything's role in nature, is to give and also receive and to learn and to expand and yeah,
Mm.
all of that stuff. So
Mm.
if we're in fear and if we're in contraction and withdrawal and smallness and scarcity, then we can't contribute as
No.
fully as if we are in I trust myself. I also trust the process
Yeah.
and and the interaction between the two.
Mm. Yes, and that's bringing us back to that connection point, because it
Mhm.
we are all connected. Everything, um, in that way of giving and receiving, um, of adding value,
Yeah,
and being an active part in in life.
yeah,
Um, yeah,
yeah.
yeah. Mm.
And I think there's a huge relief. So there's a responsibility and there's a freedom.
Mm.
And again, those two things sit hand in hand too, right? So th there's the responsibility of, right, what can I bring to this?
Yeah.
You and I come together and it's neither just you and it's neither just me, but we come together and we co-create something and
Mhm.
we can take responsibility and ownership for, okay, let's create something
Mm.
that is of real value and it adds real value to anybody that listens to it, but it
Mm.
also just adds value to us,
Yeah.
being in the
Yeah.
room and riffing and the
Yeah.
energy and all of that, right? So there's that. And then there's also the freedom of it, whatever that is, it doesn't actually have to be anything.
Yeah.
And it isn't our responsibility for other people to take any of that and for us to direct how they're going to use it,
Yeah. No.
right? So they can go off and they can take responsibility and they can do with it what they like. And so there's a real beauty in that.
Yeah.
And at the same time, we don't need to come together.
Hmm.
we don't need to do this. So
Mm.
there's the freedom of, yeah, I'm free to do it or not do it.
Yeah.
They're free to take from it or not take from it.
Yeah.
They're free to do with it what they want or not. All of
Mhm.
that.
Mm.
So there's this real paradox,
Mm.
as always, right? But there's this paradox of all of those things, and what I love about that is that there's this real sense of you don't have to do anything. I
Mm.
was at Longleat Safari Park over the weekend,
Yeah.
um, and and I'm watching the animals, the giraffe and the zebra and all of
Yeah.
that, and it's like they don't have to do anything, and
Hmm.
yet by being there, they contribute in some way. They help with the intricate balance of all of it.
Yeah.
Um, and like I say, there's just so much freedom in that.
Yeah. And for some reason, we've decided to put our own value on outcomes,
Yeah.
which is, I think, where we've lost touch with our relationship within nature or within the earth, with as participants on earth.
Mm.
You know, yeah, it's in that how productive am I? How this am I? How fit or strong or pretty or I don't know, whatever measure you want to use, that gives me value instead of going, I have the value, what am I producing from naturally? What is flowing from me, not what is yeah, I don't know what the right words is, but I think you know what I mean.
Yeah, I have inherent value.
Mm,
I'm enough as I am,
yeah.
and there is a natural curiosity that means that my tendency is towards expansion.
Oh, I like that. Yeah.
If I'm if I'm going to expand
Mm,
and I'm enough, then we're back to that thing. I don't actually have to do anything,
no.
but because I expand and I have curiosity, I am going to do something
Yeah. Because it's inherent. Because
because it's inherent,
yeah.
not because it makes me a lot of money
Yeah.
or that I'm successful or that I have status or any of
Mm,
those, like you say, these kind of Western values that tend to be the things that drives people.
mm,
But yeah, and so then from an embodied perspective, for me, there's this thing of, okay, I can kind of plonk myself down here in this space and I'm good as I am.
yeah.
And
Yeah.
if I expand, then I expand, right?
Yeah.
But I'm not leaning forward and getting myself off balance that I
Yeah.
can't recover. And I'm also not sitting back, which also takes me off balance and I
Yeah.
can't recover. I find this place in the middle where I'm really grounded.
Mm,
And so then I don't rush and I don't feel overwhelmed and I don't get stressed. There's no stress or anxiety. And there's a little bit of room where I can lean forward and it does feel a bit edgy, but I'm
yeah.
not doing it so much that I'm off balance. So it
Yeah.
just gives all of this freedom to be able to move,
Mm,
move around and yet at the same time still be really rooted like the
yeah.
grapevine, just really
Yeah.
send those tap
Yeah.
roots deep into the earth.
Yeah. And that's the ultimate point of trust, isn't it? Because the only thing I'm trusting the earth to hold me, and that's kind of where I am.
Mhm.
And there's I always when I have conversations like this, often people go like, yeah, but you have to do stuff. I mean, you can't just sit around on the couch and watch TV and do. But
No.
that's not where we're coming from with this. Yeah, it is an inherent kind of value that wants expression, and to allow it to be expressed is to also remove those blocks of have to, should,
Yes.
those things. That's what we're talking about. Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah. My son's 28 now, but we went through 3 or 4 years of home educating him.
Mm,
And the advice that we were given was when we took him out of school was just let him be.
Yeah.
Don't don't push too much education on him
Mm.
to begin with. And when you leave him, his natural curiosity will take him in a direction.
Yeah. Yeah.
And what was then really interesting is that he then got into guitar.
Mm.
And now his entire career, from working for a guitar manufacturing company to having his own recording label to having his own band to writing his own songs to gigging around the country, traveling through Europe, like his whole life now has become music, and none of it feels like work
Yeah.
because there's just this natural curiosity within him,
Mm.
and he puts all of that down to, you know, having that freedom.
Yeah.
And then really interestingly is once he'd really got that and he was really clear about music, that's when he decided that he wanted to go back to school.
Yeah.
It's like
And
that
that's, yeah,
the job had been
exactly.
done.
Yeah.
Really
Yeah.
interesting.
And that's for me, um, because the kids, my kids are now, what are they, 13 and 16. So
Mm-hmm.
the one's going through GCSEs, and the other one is, he's led by his curiosity, but
Mm-hmm.
they are technology things that sometimes I have to step in and you know remove the addiction element to a level for him to see the difference, for him to see the imbalance, because otherwise it becomes something that draws him away from that inherent curiosity.
Yes.
Um, and I
Yeah.
think that's something that it can be a good thing because once they found that thing that drives them, that is their you know point of interest,
Mm-hmm.
then they can use these technology, things and phones and internet and AI and whatever to further that. But there seems to be an easy space of imbalance in them not being able to be bored. I just want them to be bored sometimes and find something that's new and kind of, experiment and move out of their comfort zones and things like that.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah.
What do you think the difference is between growth and expansion?
Ooh, what immediately to me was up and out. So, um,
Mm.
yeah, I think growth, well, just off the top of my head, would be that growth is what you already have, making that bigger, where expansion is filling out different elements or,
Mm.
going into different areas.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
For me, it feels like growth has a direction to it
Mm. Yeah,
that can easily pull you off balance.
yeah,
Whereas expansion is you're expanding across through the whole sphere. The whole sphere
yeah,
is getting larger, which
yeah,
means that it remains balanced. And so I think that there's a real skill in being able to um, do things, whatever those things are, but have them be sources of expansion, not simply sources of growth.
yeah.
So one of the areas that I've been exploring recently has been this idea of what I call universal confidence.
Hmm.
That people tend to say, like I'm confident in music or I'm
Mm.
confident in technology or whatever,
Mm.
healing or whatever it might be. And
Yeah,
those things, and that's great. So it's not that that's wrong, but and it's also okay, if I'm really good at, say, healing or coaching or writing, how how can I discover the how can I discover the way that cultivates the confidence, not in the activity, but confidence in myself.
mm.
Because if I have confidence in myself, then I can go, okay, right, I know I've learned how to be a great writer, for example, or a great,
Yeah.
technology innovator or whatever it might be. But what if I was going to apply that to something that I've never done before?
Hmm.
Yeah. And I
Yeah.
come from this place of universal confidence. And it's like, okay, well, I don't know how, but that
Yeah.
doesn't mean I can't be confident. I can be confident in, well, I have all these, this ability to learn and adapt and grow and be flexible and, all of these qualities that allow me to learn and master new things.
Yeah. Kind of transferable skills, isn't it?
Exactly. Exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, I won't go into this very much, but you just reminded me of that concept of identity. I've been playing with this, or I have. This has been quite of, an interest to me, because I think a lot of our human behavior is based on our identity. What do I? Who am I?
Hmm.
But I am many things, and I think often we base that element of identity in that one thing, in that
Mm.
one skill, or
Yes.
that one confidence, instead of, okay, what is the driving force behind me? What is my curiosity leading me to?
Mhm.
Because those are many things. In archetypes, for example, I'm playing around with this wisdom pathways where I think we have aspects of all those archetypes, but always in different amounts. Sometimes I'm more drawn to the mystic, or sometimes I'm more drawn to the rebel, or whatever is alive for me in this moment. That doesn't make me the rebel. It means that I am drawn to that energy, and that is what's moving through me in this moment. Yeah.
Yes. Exactly.
But I am bigger than the sum of the parts.
Yeah.
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 Which I would call sovereign.
Yeah.
That big, yeah,
The
that much
bigger.
bigger bit.
Yeah. Yeah.
Mm.
Exactly.
Mm.
David, as always, I love where these conversations go.
Yeah, really interesting. Really enjoyed it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Yeah. And thank you for adding value to the Wisdom Seekers conversations.
Great. Glad we were able to do that. Thank you very much for the invitation.
Always. And I hope we get to do it soon. Uh, Things are chaotic. I was actually thinking about this morning as I was walking through the house. I'm trying to kind of separate things as to what needs to go and what needs to
Mm.
come with, and as we're getting ready for this move. And then you think, in 3 months' time or whatever, September somewhere, it will be a different space, and everything will be as and where it should be or is.
Mm.
It
Yeah,
just
yeah,
will
yeah,
be. Yeah.
yeah, yeah. Well, I wish you good luck with your move and that everything goes smoothly. I'm sure it will. And
It will.
yeah,
Yes. Yeah.
next time we speak, you'll be in your new place and space.
Place and space. Yes. Possibly we can squeeze in one more before, but
Okay.
we'll see. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's see. Let's see what we can do.
That sounds good. Thank you
Great.
so much.
My
Thank
pleasure.
you.
Thank you.